when you're looking at the migrant population, Hispanics have, I think, the highest birth rate. I mean, you could see them when they had the hotel up there in New York, the Roosevelt. It was a baby mill popping out 3, 4 kids every single week from that one hotel. It was crazy. Now, before I go down that rabbit hole, let's get to a few videos. First, the news about the potential for the baby bonus. Then we're going to get into some numbers. Then we're going to get into what Trump has said before about this issue, and then a warning from Elon Musk. And of course, everything I'm talking about right now will be in the description. If you're on IG, Facebook, etc., visit a link in the bio. Go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Well, maybe I get $5,000 for it. That is just one of the ideas that the Trump administration is reportedly tossing around to get birth rates up. The New York Times is reporting there are ideas on the table like a National Medal of Motherhood for women with 6 children or more. There's even a $5,000 baby bonus for every new mother. A third idea is to fund programs that educate women on when they are ovulating and able to conceive. It is not yet clear whether the White House is seriously considering these measures.
Now, this is an idea, but what I want to have is people that should have children being incentivized to have children. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want a bunch of ne'er-do-wells,
Yep. Just have babies. Just have babies.
IQ people,
Just have babies. Just
drug
have babies.
addicts.
Just have babies. Just have babies. Nope,
to
you
get
don't.
the $5,000.
You don't. But they
Because
will
what
do
you're
it.
going to end up with are
They
a bunch
will
of
do it.
kids who are completely useless in society.
Yep.
They'll end up being a burden.
But no,
on
not really.
society rather than
As long
being
as someone
a
with
benefit
common
to
sense
society.
take over
So
on them and
let's
teach them
get
and
people
grow
that
them up
should
to
have
being a
children
protective
incentivized
citizen,
to have them.
you're gonna be all
All
right.
right, now you can see what it says right here in this article, New York Post. Trump backs $5,000 baby bonus for new moms in bid to reverse declining birth rate. Sounds like a good idea. Let's read some of this. We got more videos to get to. Alrighty. So, like I said, $5,000 to reverse the decline of U.S. birth rates. Trump says, looks like a good idea to me. Told the folks in the Oval Office when he asked about the reported cash incentive to get more Americans to have kids. The administration's deliberations over the so-called baby bonus were first reported Monday by the New York Times. Policy experts and advocates for the growing birth rate have been meeting with the White House aides to come up with plans to convince more women to have larger families. More people who have been part of the meetings told the outlet. Now, it's going to be hard because as people have a higher standard of living, they feel like having children is less and less of a necessity, and they're also waiting when they get to be older to have the kids. And a lot of these mothers are not necessarily in the best health. They're waiting later and they're not taking care of themselves, so they're not really in the best health. Now we got a lot more autism, now we got a lot more X, Y, and Z. Plus we got vaccines potentially causing autism and whatnot. So again, you're going to have high quality people having high quality children. I'm not saying that if you have autism, you're a low quality person, but you understand what I'm saying. You want people that are productive. If you're high functioning and autistic, that's one thing. But if you are not able to even take care of yourself at all, and you're 35 years old, that's not what they want. Let's continue. One plan would give a $5,000 incentive to new moms, while another would see that 30% of all Fulbright scholarships be given to applicants who are married or have children. Another option being considered to have the government fund programs to educate women on their menstrual cycles so they can know when they're ovulating. That's a waste of money because they already got apps and stuff like that that'll tell you that. That's not really a thing we need to do. Birth rates in the U.S. have long been slipping, hitting a new low in 2023 with just under 3.6 million babies born that year, making a typical American family with 2.5 children a thing in the past. In 2023, American families had just under 2 children on average. The number is 1.66, and that's very important to understand because they say 2.1 is a magic number. We're at 1.66, we're way off the mark. And it'll take more than $5,000 to make that improve. I'll talk about that in a moment. The total number of babies born was also about 76,000 less than 2022 and the lowest one-year tally. Let's keep going here. Now, here's Trump back in August 24 while he was campaigning, talking about IVF and incentives to get women to have more children and increase the birth rate. Let's watch.
Women able to have a baby. Some have great difficulty, and A lot of them have been very happy with the results, as you know, and what we're doing. And we're doing this because we just think it's great. And we need great children, beautiful children in our country. We actually need them. And we are going to be, under the Trump administration, we are going to be paying for that treatment. So we are paying for that treatment. Or we're going to, all Americans get it. All Americans that need it. So we're going to be paying for that treatment, or we're going to be mandating that the insurance company pay.
So that was about IVF. That's in vitro fertilization. That's a different thing from the $5,000, but it goes in the same lane. Like, okay, we're trying to increase the birth rate, so we're going to give moms money. We're going to pay for IVF. We got to do something because we cannot sustain what we're trying to do here with a decline in population. And let's continue. This is going to be Elon Musk talking about just how bad the situation is with the very low birth rate, not only in America, but all over the world. I think South Korea has the lowest birth rate in the world at 0.77, if I'm not mistaken. It's less than one. It's less than one, which is very bad. That's going to cut the population by maybe up to 2/3, but definitely at least by half if that trend continues.
Well, there's other things that I suppose that I worry about, but and some of these things we're seeing esoteric to people. The growth rate is very low in almost every country, and unless that changes, civilization will disappear. America had the lowest growth rate, I believe, ever. That was last year. Places like Korea, the growth rate is 1/3 replacement rate. So that means in 3 generations, Korea will be 3 or 4% of its current size. And nothing seems to be turning that around. Humanity is dying.
Right.
And people, it's just not something we evolved to react to. And I worry generally about the strength of America. America is the central column that holds up all the Western civilization. So I feel like if we've got the temple of Western civilization, America is the central column. If that column fails, it's over. You can't run up to New Zealand or some other place. It's over. So either we strengthen that column and make sure America is strong, it will be strong for a long time, or that roof's coming down.
That's right on point, Elon Musk. Right on point. Yeah, humanity is most certainly kind of dying off. The problem is societal. The problem is societal. When you have a lot of these highly developed Western nations, they're going to have low birth rates because the focus becomes about economics, about your job, about doing other things.
Not about family. Not about family.
The poorer nations, the developing nations, they're going to have a very high birth rate because they're just trying to get up. They're just trying to have these kids come help and do different things. It's not, you're having children for different reasons. They're not worried about condoms and IVF treatments and this and family planning. They're not worried about that. They're just worried about living every day and doing what they have been doing since the beginning of time. But as I close, I want to say this. I appreciate the administration trying to do something to help the birth rate, but I don't think paying for IVF or having the baby bonus of $5,000, I don't think it's really going to work. You better have some societal changes. One of the big things is family court, child support, all that kind of stuff. And also, it's kind of a stigma to have children outside of wedlock. I think we kind of got to get beyond that.
Yep.
Because these kids are not being born outside of, they're not being born in wedlock now.
They ain't been born into balance. They need balance. You need that man and that woman in the household to make that household.
Even if the parents do make it, how many of them are going to have a nice and healthy household? We got to think about things differently. I think human beings, as we progress, we have to progress.
Yeah.
Meaning,
Gotta think more. Gotta use more common sense. Yes. Seems like y'all digress. Y'all went from using common sense to no fucking sense. Went from common sense to make believe. Went from common sense to understand. Went from common sense to having faith. Went to common sense to hoping. You just lost all common sense. And the shit you know and needed to be knowing to do.
And Elon Musk with 25 kids is going to be a lot more guys like that because if not for Elon Musk, would those women even have any children? Would they have more than one child? If it's going to be a lot more guys like that, rich guys that have a bunch of kids and just take care of them financially, pop up every night. It'll be more of that. And if that is something that's frowned upon, where the kids going to come from?
No.
I don't really understand. I think if we don't just remove some of the stigma around the way certain kids are born, we're going to continue to have this problem, and no amount of money is going to stop it.
Yep.
And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you?
We aren't as stupid as we're being taught to be. We're not stupid. We're not. I'm just saying. We're not that stupid. Truth is what it is. Again, we are not that stupid. Not as stupid as these assholes want us to be. Oh shit. You ain't want this for me. I get on that interstate and act a donkey. Watch. On that interstate and act a donkey. On that interstate and act a donkey. Should have went back outside. Got in that car.
Oh shit. Another bum, man.
It's still outside.
Yeah, baby.
Still outside. Nope. Pull my car. Damn, I got out there and let me call it. Hop out car. But, oh yeah. See how long I got to put it there then? 5 seconds. Go, baby. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go. 17. Get in the state. Get in the state. Get that 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 in the state. Here we go. Yeah.
$100 a day. And now we have it down to a very low number because we're getting 25% from the automobile industry, from autos. We're getting 25% for steel, 25% for aluminum, and we're getting the baseline of 10%. And think of it, we're losing almost $2 trillion on trade. And those days are gone. We're not going to do that again. We're not going to let that happen. We're being ripped off by almost, I don't say every, but very close to every country, everywhere in the world, just being ripped off left and right. You had no leadership. You had people that didn't know what they were doing. And we're going to turn the country around. You know, we have a very nice phrase, make America great again. That's what we're going to do. And it's going to start with trade. We're doing really well. I see the stock market was up nicely, but this is a transition period, and it's going to be a little while. But we are doing well with every country. Ultimately, we have something they want, and you have to view it that way. We have something they want, and they want very badly. And, you know, it's going to be, they're coming in, they're taking treasure, they're taking jobs when they do that, and they have to pay. And they don't have to pay if they come in and create their own jobs. You know, if they do their product here, if they build their product or make their product in the United States, we have absolutely no tariffs, and we welcome people. But we're taking in a lot of money from tariffs, and our country is getting stronger all the time because the other was not sustainable. I'm not going to mention COVID. I'm not going to say, well, I'm going to play hardball with China. I'm going to play hardball with President Xi. No. They're going to be very nice. They're going to be very nice. And we'll see what happens. But ultimately, they have to make a deal because otherwise they're not going to be able to deal in the United States. So we want them involved. But they have to, and other countries have to make a deal. And if they don't make a deal, we'll set the deal. Because we're the ones that set the deal. Scott and Howard, and myself, and others, we're going to be setting the deal, and it'll be a fair deal for everybody, and it'll be, I think it's a process that's going to go pretty quickly. We've spoken to many, many countries, and we're getting their views on things. You know, there are a lot of things. They have VAT taxes. They have everything you can have. Don't forget, as an example, the European Union was set up to take advantage of the United States. That's why it was set. And they've done that, but they're not doing that anymore. Yeah. Well, we're not going to let Hamas do that, and we're going to see what happens with Gaza. But we've made a lot of progress in the Middle East. Tremendous. Should have never happened. That date, that very special date, October 7th, should have never happened. It would have never happened if I were president. But we'll be stopping that whole situation. I'm sure 145% is very high, and it won't be that high. It's not going to be that high. It got up to, we were talking about fentanyl and, you know, various elements built it up to 145. No, it won't be anywhere near that high. It'll come down substantially, but it won't be zero. It used to be zero. We were just destroyed. China was taking us for a ride, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We're going to be very good to China, have a great relationship with President Xi, but they would make billions and billions and billions of dollars a year, and they would build their military out of the United States and what they made, so that won't happen. But they're going to do very well, and I think they're going to be happy, and I think we're going to live together very happily and ideally work together. So I think it's going to work out very well. But no, it's at 145%. They will not be anywhere near that number.
Secure, 3-5. Perfect.
Oh, step on it. Commercial bullshit. That shit bullshit.
Oh, it's amazing what they've done on the border. Thank you for the question, because honestly, it's one of the great successes. We have virtually nobody coming in illegally. We do have people coming in legally because we want people to come in, but we have nobody coming in through the border virtually. We were having hundreds of thousands of people a month come in under Biden. And they came in from prisons, they came in from mental institutions, they came in from gangs in Venezuela and other countries all over the world, not just South America. They were emptying their prisons into the United States. Venezuela emptied its prisons out, but many countries emptied their prisons into the Congo, as an example in Africa, emptied their prisons into the United States. And we're getting them out, and I hope we get cooperation from the courts, because, you know, we have thousands of people that are ready to go out, and you can't have a trial for all of these people. It wasn't meant, the system wasn't meant, and we don't think there's anything that says, look, we are getting some very bad people, killers, murderers, drug dealers, really bad people, the mentally ill, the mentally insane. They emptied out insane asylums into our country. We're getting them out, and a judge can't say, you know, you have to have a trial, but the trial's going to take 2 years, and, you know, we're going to have a very dangerous country if we're not allowed to do what we're entitled to do. And I want an election based on the fact that we get them out. We've done an amazing job. Look, we've stopped, everybody admits, even the radical left, we have got the strongest border we've ever had. Even stronger than when I had it for 4 years. We had a great border. We solved the problem.
I was thinking about the own war.
It's gotten stronger, which is, I don't know if that's disappointing or not to me. I beat my own record, but I appreciate the question. Thank you. Well, then you did, the question is about prices. Prices are going down. One of the big things is energy is going down. See that we had a couple of states where gasoline was at $1.98 a gallon. Nobody thought they'd see that for years, maybe. And that's a big thing. And we opened up our well, we opened up our drilling, and our wells brought down for sale. And we're also going to be selling outside of the country to a large extent. It's going to bring down our deficits largely. It's going to bring down our deficits. But if you remember my first week, I was standing here, Paul, and they were speaking about eggs. The cost of eggs had gone through the roof. They were up like 500, but it increased like 4 or 5 times. And we won't have eggs very soon, they would say. We need no eggs. You can't order eggs. They wanted us to order plastic in the shape of eggs. Well, yesterday we had 48,000 people.
You don't have no guns
at the Easter hunt, they call it the Easter roll at the White House. And we had all eggs. And you know, the cost of eggs has come down like 94% since we took office. And they're pretty much normally priced now. Great job.
If you can't use your hand,
did a very good job. But groceries have come down. It's all coming down. The only thing that hasn't come down, but it hasn't gone up much, are interest rates, and we think the Fed should lower the rate. We think that it's a perfect time to lower the rate, and we'd like to see a chairman be early or on time as opposed to late. Late's not good. I'm going to get him out. I don't want to talk about that because I have no intention of Sounds like a good idea to me. Yeah, please. Never whatsoever. Never did. The press runs away with things. I have no intention of firing him. I would like to see him be a little more active in terms of his idea to lower interest rates. It's a perfect time to lower interest rates. If he does it, is it the end? No, it's not. But it would be good timing. It could have taken place earlier. But no, I have no intention to fire him. I don't know. Which I don't know. I'll speak to the attorney general. I know that we've done.
I'm in Jersey, Walking.
the Kennedy. Martin Luther King is out there very shortly, so we'll find out. And we've really announced we're doing them in full transparency. You know, when we did JFK, people would say, "Oh, maybe it wasn't all; it was all." And people actually went up to the office and they looked at some things that were, not really easily available, and they were amazed that we gave it all. And I don't know if it solved any problems or people still have questions one way or the other, but but 100% of all of these documents are being delivered upwards.
I didn't say all of them go to China, but where do you stand right now?
My relationship with President Xi is great. It's been great for a long time. We have a very good relationship, and I think we'll make a deal with China.
The slaves were heroes because they don't have force. They don't know that it's secretly fighting.
Man, shut the fuck up all that bullshit, man. That TV make-believe nonsense. Shit. Out of that shit.
Want to be a part of the United States. We're doing good. This is the golden age, as Paul said. We're talking about the golden age. It will never be a time like this, in my opinion. And China wants to be a part of that, too. I'll keep that to myself. I think that everyone's going to do well in this country because of tariffs. We have $7 trillion of investment already. You can go back many years, and for a whole year they haven't had anywhere near that. Mostly they'd be well under $1 trillion of investment. And we've got $7 trillion. We really started 5 weeks ago. And in just a few weeks, literally, we have $7 trillion, which is a record for a year. There's never been a year with that much. And that's coming in, I think, for 2 reasons. It's coming in because of an election that people like, and it's coming in because of tariffs. And if you look at Apple, Apple's going to start building here. Right now, they're in China mostly. $500 billion. We have the computer, all of the computer chip companies are coming in at levels that nobody's ever seen before. As you know, Jensen came in for $500 billion. So that great guy, highly respected. Mr. Wade coming in for $250 billion. Nobody's ever seen a thing. And the auto companies are coming in. I can name 8 right now already, auto plants that are either starting or about ready to start construction. There's never been the United Auto Workers and the non-union workers in the automobile industry. They love Trump, and I love them. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Congratulations, Paul.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here.